We beat the Bengals? Good. Lamar Jackson had more rushing yards than Cincinnati combined? Good. Andy Dalton was a leading rusher for the Bengals? Good. So the Ravens handed the Bengals their 4th loss in 5 games. Oof. That salt must be real in Cincinnati. Randy Bullock missing a potential tying 52-yard field goal with only 4 minutes left, plus Dalton's 4th down pass, which was deflected by Marlon Humphrey. So that just can't sit very well with Bengals fans. I mean, just look at Mark Herman's video. He's so angry. Now, with that amazing win over Cincinnati, we are now officially in control of our destiny, and we can in reality start talking seed scenarios. We're going to save that for second to last. First, let's talk about offense, then defense, special teams, our seed chances, and finally what the prediction for this game is going to be. So let's start with offense. On offense, here's an insane stat. On the offensive side of the ball, Ravens improved from number 29 to number 16 in rushing yards per game just from their 265-yard game on Sunday. Now, Lamar Jackson had 150 passing yards, but a quarterback rating of only 35.3, so there's something that definitely needs to be cleaned up there. Also, 27 carries, 117 yards is the most by any NFL quarterback ever since 1970. That's just not sustainable. I completely agree with everybody whose take on that is that it's not sustainable. So let's stop saying the word sustainable. Let's rephrase that. Lamar, stop doing that. That. Gus Edwards, 17 carries, 115 yards, 6.8 on average yards per carry with 1 touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Gus the Bus's longest drive was 17 yards. I mean, you gotta love whenever a rookie coming back out of Rutgers, undrafted, just starts attacking the Bengals on their run defense. That's just my opinion. Now, at the receiving core, Willie Snead led with 5 receptions, 51 yards. Nick Boyle brought up the next 5 receptions at 36 yards. John Brown only got 1 target, but it was for 23 yards, so I'm okay with that. Like to see him used more in the future, however. Michael Crabtree is still playing for the Raiders, apparently with 1 reception out of 3 targets and only 7 yards out of that. Good job. Now, while Lamar Jackson is obviously the future of this team, I'm not quite ready to let him try and run the playoffs on his own. We may see way more play calling that switches up the QB position if Flacco comes back with a hip injury that is no longer, and if Marty Morningweg ever decides to try to get, call plays that are actually good or even original. That'd be nice. Now we can see more of this run option obviously with Lamar Jackson, and it really may open us up to a lot more wins, especially if we can really formulate a good solid play calling strategy around Lamar Jackson, especially if we feature Alex Collins, Gus Edwards, and way more tactical schemes. So I'm looking at you, Marty. On defense, here's where it gets interesting. So the Ravens are now number 1 in the league again for fewest points allowed. Wink Martindale doing pretty good with what he's got. On the offseason, it's clear that we need a younger, better, faster pass rush. And also a faster free safety, inside linebacker combo to see more turnovers happen. Mosley's slow. Weddle and Suggs have kind of lost the spring in their steps. I mean, Suggs is still going to be the best at the pass rush, but we really need more youth, especially at inside linebackers. They really need to be faster to help with coverage too. I really was hot on Bowser, but he's been pretty disappointing in my opinion as well. Now, we are still practically sackless in games, and that definitely needs to change. We need to fix our pass rush so that we are bringing more pressure on quarterbacks, and as of right now, we're kind of going through a bit of a drought. It's not fun. Special teams, Justin Tucker. Just kidding. Not just about Justin Tucker. Amazing 56-yard field goal, obs. But let's also talk about Chris Moore. 67 yards on 4 returns, longest one for 24 yards. It's very not bad. Very not bad. Alright, so let's get into our seed chances now that we've kind of looked at the back end. As of right now, there are 5 teams, including us, that are tied in the AFC for 5-5. We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to have to keep winning. But not only that, the Colts, Titans, Bengals, and Dolphins are going to really have to start losing because we really need to beat the Raiders, Bucks, and Browns at home. And if they don't start losing, we're going to wind up exactly where we're at. Now, we've also got the Falcons, Chiefs, and Chargers coming up, and we most likely need to win 2 of those 3 if we're going to go even close to 10-6 and get in without a doubt. Now, if we only win 1 out of 3, we have a shot, but it just totally now depends on how the tiebreakers work out. And that's a little hard to predict, especially this far in advance. Now, if we don't win any of those 3 games against the Falcons, Chargers, or Chiefs, we're pretty much done. We need to shut down all traffic going to the castle until DeCastro fires Marty or Harbs. I've got my picket sign ready. Now, schedule difficulty-wise, it really looks like Baltimore has the highest percentage of actually making it in. We really can't afford to play slow against any of those teams, though. Maybe Kansas City. I could technically see us winning. Now, if we beat the Chargers, and I have to emphasize that we really fucking need to beat the Chargers. Now, expect nothing less than 8-8 from this team. Atlanta, Chiefs, Chargers, they're the ones I'm really hesitant about because they're really tough games. It doesn't mean that we can't surprise them. They're tough games. It's the other games that I'm fully expecting wins. So let's talk about the Raiders. Now, first disclaimer, if we lose to the Raiders, we suck. That's just it. We suck. Okay? Moving on. Now, Ravens are playing their third game back at home against the Raiders, and the Ravens basically have an 86.9% chance of beating the Raiders according to the ESPN. Now, I believe that as soon as I see Marty Morningwig turning in his resignation. Now, Tim Williams, James Hurst, and Flacco are all listed as questionable. Kenneth Dixon is returning from IR. It's going to be interesting to see who lines up on offense for this game. Injuries on the Oakland Raiders seem to be kind of piling up a little bit. Jordy Nelson, Doug Martin, Dwayne Harris, Leon Hall are all questionable for the game. Brandon LaFell, Martavis Bryant are on IR. I don't really see a reason for us to lose this game because of offensive scoring for the Raiders. Now, some things to note. The Raiders have allowed 142 rushing yards. The Ravens have only allowed 94. So Raiders are also slightly behind in passing yards allowed with 251. Ravens are at 223. I feel like this is a very winnable game, especially at home. If we lose it, probably going to wind up blaming the coaches first. I've said it before, we are a good team, but we have some really, really low quality coaching at times. Predictions, Ravens at home versus the Raiders. I really think that, sorry Raiders fans, that this is going to be a 32-14 game Ravens. What we really need to watch out for is how Lamar Jackson is used, what our running game looks like after the fact. So let's keep that in mind. Guys, I also want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free, please, to subscribe, comment on the videos. We love hearing from you. Don't also forget to check out the other three AFC Northerners. The Steelers guys, Gabe and Chris. Our Browns guy, Dave Green. Our Bengals guy, the saltiest of them all, Mark Herman. Love you, boo. I'm JD Sutar for the AFC Northerners, Ravens Division. I'm going to have an interview after the game up, right after the game next week, or rather this week. I'm really sorry for missing out on Lala last week, guys. A lot of things going on here. The California fires have put a little bit of stress on here. So if you have anybody that's, in the fires, please make sure you reach out to them, make sure that they're safe. It's been a hard week for that. In the meantime, I am so looking forward to more Ravens football, especially winning Ravens football. Anyway, love you guys. Talk soon. Fuck the Patriots.